Bust of Aristotle. Let's start in Athens, 384 BC. Aristotle is born in Stagira, northern Greece. His father served as royal physician to the Macedonian court. At 17, he's sent to study under Plato. He stays at Plato's academy for 20 years. Plato calls him the mind of the school. After Plato dies, Aristotle leaves Athens. He tutors a 13-year-old prince, Alexander. Yes, that Alexander, the Great. He teaches him philosophy, medicine, poetry, politics. Alexander later funds Aristotle's research for life. Aristotle founds his own school, the Lyceum. He writes on physics, biology, ethics, politics, logic, poetry, astronomy, meteorology. He classifies over 500 animal species by hand. He invents formal logic, the syllogism, a structure still taught in philosophy classes today. His physics becomes the only physics Europe knows. For nearly 1,900 years, he claims heavier objects fall faster. Wrong. He places Earth at the center of the universe. Wrong. Nobody checks his math for centuries. Rome falls. His books nearly vanish with it. Scholars in Baghdad save them through translation. The House of Wisdom keeps his ideas alive. Thomas Aquinas later just calls him the philosopher. No last name needed. Everyone knew who that meant. Leonardo da Vinci. Now jump to Vinci, Italy, 1452. Leonardo is born outside marriage. No surname of his own, just da Vinci. From Vinci. At 14, he's apprenticed to painter Verrocchio in Florence. His master reportedly stops painting after seeing his student's angel. Leonardo, painter, engineer, anatomist, inventor. He keeps roughly 13,000 pages of private notebooks. He writes them backwards, right to left. Historians still argue whether it's secrecy or simple habit. He dissects over 30 human corpses, by candlelight, without a license. He sketches a working parachute design, a tank, a diving suit, a mechanical knight, 400 years before anyone builds them. Most designs stay on paper, the tools don't exist yet. He works 16 years on one painting, the Mona Lisa. He never delivers it to the person who paid for it. He finishes maybe 15 paintings in his entire life. Compare that to painters who finish hundreds. He also designs weapons for a warlord. Cesare Borgia. Bridges, catapults, fortress plans. Most are never built either. He dies in France in 1519. Legend says King Francis I holds him as he passes. Historians can't confirm that part. What's confirmed? He left thousands of ideas unfinished. Genius with a documented habit of walking away. Isaac Newton. Now England, 1642. A premature baby is born. So small his mother says he could fit inside a quart pot. His father died 3 months before his birth. That baby grows up to be Isaac Newton. In 1665, plague shuts down Cambridge University. Newton, age 22, goes home to wait it out. He's alone on a farm for 18 months. No classroom, no professors, just him. An apple falls in the garden, or so the story goes. He starts building a theory of gravity. That same stretch, he invents calculus. He also splits white light through a prism, proving it's made of every color at once. Historians call these 18 months his annus mirabilis, his miracle year and a half. By 26, he's a professor at Cambridge. In 1687, he publishes Principia Mathematica, Laws of Motion, Universal Gravitation, in one book. Later, he runs England's Royal Mint, not as a ceremonial title. He works the job hard. He personally hunts down counterfeiters. Some of them hang because of his evidence. He also writes more pages on alchemy than physics, trying to turn lead into gold in private. He fights a bitter, decades-long feud with Leibniz. Both claim credit for inventing calculus first. Newton barely slept. He rarely laughed. He never married. Karl Gauss. Now, Brunswick, Germany, around 1780. Carl Friedrich Gauss is the son of a bricklayer. At age 3, he catches an error in his father's payroll math, out loud, correcting an adult. At school, a teacher assigns busy work, add 1 to 100, expecting an hour of silence. Gauss answers almost instantly, 5,050. He'd spotted a pattern instead of adding 1 by 1. Pair the first and last number, 50 pairs of 101. The teacher buys him a math textbook from his own pocket. A local duke later funds his education. At 19, Gauss solves a problem open since ancient Greece. How to construct a 17-sided shape with just compass and ruler. He's so proud he wants it carved on his tombstone. The stonemason refuses, says it would just look like a circle. At 21, he publishes Disquisitiones Arithmeticae. It becomes the foundation of modern number theory. In 1801, astronomers lose track of a newly found object, Ceres. It vanishes behind the sun before they can map its orbit. Gauss calculates where it should reappear. With pure math, astronomers call it a long shot at best. They point their telescopes where he says, "There it is." He becomes known across Europe as the Prince of Mathematics. He barely publishes half of what he actually discovers. His private notebooks, found after death, are decades ahead of the field. His motto, few results, but fully ripe ones. Nikola Tesla. Now, 1856, a small village in the Austrian Empire. Nikola Tesla is born during a lightning storm, according to family legend. His father is a Serbian Orthodox priest. Young Tesla has what looks like a photographic memory. He claims he can build full machines inside his own head, complete, down to every bolt and wire, before he ever touches a tool. In 1884, he sails to America, reportedly with 4 cents and a letter for Thomas Edison. He works for Edison briefly. They clash hard. Edison backs direct current. Tesla backs alternating current. Tesla walks away and partners with George Westinghouse instead. What follows gets called the War of Currents. Edison publicly electrocutes animals to scare people off AC. Tesla wins anyway. AC becomes the global standard. It still powers most of the planet today. Tesla ends up holding around 300 patents. He experiments with wireless transmission decades early. He builds a massive tower to send power without wires. Wardenclyffe. His main investor, J.P. Morgan, pulls the funding. The tower is torn down for scrap during World War I. Tesla also develops strange, rigid habits over time. He refuses to shake hands, fears germs. He calculates the exact volume of his food before eating it. Near the end of his life, he says he loves one specific white pigeon. He dies broke and alone in a New York hotel room, 1943. Marie Curie. Now Warsaw, 1867. A girl named Maria Sklodowska is born. Poland is under Russian control at the time. Women aren't allowed into Polish universities. Teaching Polish history is technically illegal. Maria studies anyway in secret at an underground school. She works years as a governess to fund her sister's studies in Paris. Eventually, she saves enough to go to Paris herself. At the Sorbonne, she ranks first in her physics class. She meets a physicist named Pierre Curie. They marry in 1895. Together, they discover a new element, polonium, named for her homeland, then a second element, radium. She coins a new word for what they're studying, radioactivity. They work out of a leaky shed with no real ventilation. In 1903, she wins the Nobel Prize in Physics. Committee members initially plan to list only Pierre's name. Pierre refuses the prize unless Maria is credited too. In 1906, Pierre is killed, hit by a horse-drawn cart. Maria takes over his professorship at the Sorbonne, first woman ever to teach there. In 1911, she wins a second Nobel Prize, in chemistry this time. No one else in history has won Nobels in 2 different sciences. During World War I, she builds mobile X-ray units. She drives them to the front lines herself. They help surgeons locate bullets and shrapnel in wounded soldiers. She dies in 1934, her body worn down by decades of radiation. Her old notebooks are still radioactive, kept in lead boxes today. John von Neumann. Now, Budapest, 1903. A boy named John von Neumann is born into a wealthy banking family. At 6, he can divide 2 8-digit numbers in his head. At the dinner table, he jokes with his father in ancient Greek. At 8, he reads a page of a phone book once. Years later, he can still recite it back, name by name. He earns a doctorate in mathematics by age 22. At the same time, studying chemical engineering to please his father. He moves to Princeton in the 1930s. He becomes one of the founding professors at the Institute for Advanced Study. His office sits down the hall from Einstein's. He helps build the mathematical foundation of quantum mechanics. He co-writes the field of game theory from scratch, later used in economics, biology, even nuclear strategy. During World War II, he joins the Manhattan Project. He solves the physics problem of the implosion bomb design, the method used to detonate the bomb dropped on Nagasaki. After the war, he helps design early digital computers. The basic architecture he laid out still runs almost every computer today. Colleagues describe watching him work as unsettling. Physicist Hans Bethe reportedly said his brain proved a species above human was possible. In meetings, engineers would run numbers through mechanical calculators. Von Neumann would call out the answer before the machine finished. He also dreams up self-replicating machines, decades before computers can build them. The concept later shapes early artificial life research. In 1955, he's diagnosed with cancer, possibly linked to radiation exposure from watching nuclear tests up close. He keeps working from a wheelchair, then from a hospital bed. He dies in 1957 at 53. Colleagues call it a catastrophic loss. Albert Einstein. Finally, Ulm, Germany, 1879. Albert Einstein is born. Family stories say he doesn't speak fluently until around age 4. His parents worry something is wrong with him. In school, he hates rigid memorization and rote drills. Teachers call him a poor, disruptive student. He fails his first entrance exam to a Swiss technical school, though his math and physics scores are near perfect. He graduates in 1900. No university wants to hire him. For 2 years, he can't find academic work at all. He ends up as a patent clerk in Bern, third class, reviewing other people's inventions for a living. In 1905, in his spare time, he writes 4 papers. Each one reshapes physics on its own. One explains the photoelectric effect. One explains Brownian motion. One introduces special relativity. One gives the world E equals mc squared. Historians later call it his miracle year. He keeps working at the patent office for years afterward. No university moves fast enough to hire him. In 1919, astronomers photograph a solar eclipse to test his theory. Starlight bends exactly as he predicted. He becomes a global celebrity overnight. In 1933, he flees Nazi Germany for good. He settles in Princeton for the rest of his life.